I mean, look at this. Oh. So they did put something here. Good for them. But when was this here is the question. So I'm going to have to ask when that was put there. But that's good. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's like they know that they needed to. You have these TVs that were facing in. So at least they did that. And I wanted to come out here first, but I should have. So it's just frustrating because it's like, you know, the last meeting, so they have, you know, taken action immediately because they know that I was right. And they shouldn't have done that last meeting, the executive committee or the audit committee, in knowing that this wasn't here and that it could have been the entire time. So it's good that they did that. And now they have the transportation committee. So that's good. It's just frustrating again when they, you know, continue acting like, what are you talking about? We can do this. And it's like, no, you know, you had to course correct automatically because that was a problem. So that's great. Did you see it? No, it's a video. It's like one of their TVs, and they put it on there. Good for them.
The judges should know.
Yeah, but now people can walk by and know what's going on. You know what I mean? Hello.
The June 12th Board of Directors meeting is called to order. First, I would like to ask our interpreters to explain how to access interpretation. Please go ahead.
No.
To use the interpretation feature, please go to the bottom of the
Do you want to be?
where the meeting controls are.
Just joking.
Click on the interpretation. Mobile app, cell phone, tablet, etc. Please press the ellipsis, then interpretation, and then choose your language. Finally, click on Mute Original Audio to hear the original. Buenos días. Para hacer uso del servicio de interpretación, favor de desplazarse a la parte inferior de la pantalla de Zoom, donde aparecen los interpretación, globo terráqueo y seleccione Spanish en español. Si está utilizando la aplicación móvil de Zoom, celular, tableta, etc., presione los puntos suspensivos, luego interpretación y luego idioma. Si no desea escuchar el audio original en inglés en el fondo, por favor seleccione Mute Original Audio si desea el audio original. Contamos con auriculares disponibles para el servicio de interpretación. Si se encuentra en la sala de reunión, favor de pedir auriculares con la recepcionista en el vestíbulo. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we begin, I'd like to note that due to today's agenda, which includes 2 substantial closed session items and the first reading of amendments to the Comprehensive Fare Ordinance of the Transportation Committee, which must begin at 1 p.m., public comment will be limited to 1 minute per speaker for each item today only. Additionally, we'll be trailing non-agenda comments to after closed session. We appreciate your understanding and your cooperation. Now I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the land that we call home. The tribal nations of the San Diego region have historically faced injustices. We acknowledge the harmony that existed between the land, nature, and its original peoples. We have since endured displacement, persecution, and systemic oppression. We pay our respect to the unceded territory and homelands of the 18 tribal nations in our region, the most in any county in the United States. From 4 cultural groups, the Kumeyaay-Tequeño, the Luiseño, the Cupeño, and the Cahuilla. This land has nourished, healed, protected, and embraced them for many generations in a relationship of balance and harmony. As members of the San Diego community, we democracy. We aspire to learn from Indigenous traditional knowledge and experiences in undoing the injustices of the past. Now please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Okay, Michael, can you please confirm quorum?
We have a quorum. Chair with the cities of Carlsbad, Chula Vista, El Cajon, La Mesa absent.
Chula Vista just walked in. Very good.
As we let the executive committee know, also on June 15, the state legislator requested, excuse me, I clicked in the wrong page. On May 22nd, we received a request from the California State Legislative Audit Committee to come and testify. Assembly member DeMaio raised a request to audit SANDAC regarding the Transnet 1 delivery, the North Coast Corridor mitigation and lagoon restoration, and reporting of SB1 in the SHOP programs. Both myself and the CFO, Don Batiste, went to Sacramento. We testified. We have delivered most of the Transnet projects. The lagoon restorations were deemed appropriate and also were mentioned that we're under special legislation. And we also mentioned how we report our appropriate reporting on the SB1 program, and SANDAC does not use SHOP funds. The committee voted to not proceed with the recent work the agency has. And I would probably just keep it at that for now, and just mention that our offices are going to be closed next coming Friday for the Juneteenth holiday. Thank you.
Very good. All right. We'll now move on to the consent agenda. Michael, do we have any public comments on the consent agenda?
We do, Chair. Just a second. If you're online and would like to speak on consent agenda, please raise your hand now. Commentaries for the purposes of civility and orderly meeting, we kindly ask that you refrain from using loud, threatening, profane, or abusive language. Per board policy, the amount of time allowed for each verbal public comment is determined based on the number of agenda items, the complexity of those items, and the number of persons anticipated to offer comment. This allows us to hear from as many people as possible to complete our business while we still have a quorum. So based on those factors, the chair has determined that for today's meeting, each member of the public will be allowed 1 minute for their comments. Again, this is consent agenda. So please identify the consent agenda item you are speaking to. And if comments are not related to the consent agenda, you will be asked to stay on topic. If you do not stay on topic, you will be muted. So first we have Truth, followed by Cesar Javier.
Lisa's the new Nora 2.0. Item 3.1. Why were Bruce and Vivian absent by the consent? And why did the county losers provide zero representation for the budget? Item 3.4. It's taken MTS over 4 years to still not purchase 6 buses, primarily because they failed at proper documentation, knowing the basic expenses. Where is the SANDAC oversight of this corrupt and inept agency? Can they even afford 6 buses? Item 3.5. What is the point of a productivity improvement performance report when SANDAC doesn't actually seek improvement of the agency's funds, which aren't even meeting the minimum legal thresholds of fair recovery? NCTD Plus has a operating cost per hour. MTS rapid buses are operating under, and yet SANDAC keeps pushing them. Raising transit fares does not lower increased corruption. Item 3.8, as evidenced by the Paramount Trolley parking lot's reduction in cost, if relinquishing control to private companies works, SANDAC should relinquish all control. In fact, I think Lisa should relinquish all control being shared.
Thank you. Next is Cesar Javier, followed by Allegedly Audra. This is a consent agenda. Please state the item you're speaking to.
A very good topic. Thank you, Sandra. 3.1 to 3.10. We are good at summarizing. We can only say that the processes empirically approach prayerfully, God help, good governance. Rate, however, is our dream, ought to be adequate, timely, efficiently, and effectively. Oversights, decision-making, priorities are the product of yester governance in action. Thank you, Sandag. Sandag focuses on 1/5 of the 5 elements to be considered in urban or even rural planning. And the elected officials are responsible for 5. Sandag duplicates that element.
Thank you. Your
as
time
part
has
of this
expired.
process.
Next is allegedly Audra, followed by Life Gets
We know it.
Online.
Thank you, Sandag.
This is a consent agenda. Please state the topic you're speaking to.
For equity, I say you guys all get a minute as well. Yes, I would take it as a win. Congratulations for putting the agenda outside. However, you didn't do it prior for all of your other meetings. So I could go back potentially 6 months and void all of the business that you have done. So all of these minutes that you are approving or these recommendations from the different committees would be deemed null and void. And so I appreciate you course correcting, which means your legal team was incorrect last time, stating that having it posted down at a toll center in the middle of nowhere was suffice. That you guys were engaging in. And so I appreciate the course correction, but you need to make sure that you continue to follow the law. And I am going to go back to all of the meetings that you have
Thank
done.
you. Your time has expired. Next is Life Gets Online, followed by Blair Beekman. Please state the consent agenda item you're speaking to.
Morning, my name is Leif Genzel. I'm the Vice President of Bright SD. I'm going to speak on consent item 3. That I find it on behalf of people to participate in the public discourse, which is something that you're supposedly should people enable to do. Nevertheless, item 3.9, approval of the draft agenda for the next time, does still not include SB 79. SB 79 is state law that you have to obey to. You haven't released them. Talk about this at some point. You can't delay further off, otherwise you risk, which is going to cost the taxpayer a lot of money. Please do care about SB 79, and then in general implement the regional plan with up-to-date bus rapid transit standard given out by the IHTP. Thank you very much.
Next is Blair Beekman, followed by W. Leonard. This is a consent agenda. Please state the item you're speaking to.
Hi, Blair Beekman. Items 3.5, 3.8, 3.10. I wanted to comment quickly in items reviewing budget concerns. I think you're all pretty aware of what happened at the San Diego MTS meeting yesterday. They want to put a freeze on rate increases for disabled riders and monthly passes. I always tried to comment that the additional $5 this September pricing increase is way too steep and high. And you guys have to really reconsider that, possibly allow an additional 2 or 3 months to work on the issue if possible, possibly a rate increase of only $2, not $5. And the rate freeze is a great idea overall. Please review it, please be caring and consider it, and be open. That's key, be open. And this public meetings need public comment. I'm really pissed that you guys are not allowing public comment. Thank you.
Our last public comment on consent is Guthrie Leonard. Please state the consent agenda item you're speaking to.
Hi, I would also like to speak to item 3.9. I'm concerned that, like said, we have yet to release any information about our county's SB 79 map. I mean, this is very impactful for the cities in the county, as well as the citizens and Sandag itself if it chooses to not release it in time. With which we're working through SB 79. It's a very impactful bill. I think it's impactful in a good way, but we need to be proactive about how we're implementing it, and that is not what I'm seeing. So I'd really love to see that released this week so that at the very least cities have a little bit of time to understand how it would impact them but they have really no some alternative plan by now. So that's unfortunate that that's how it's going on.
That concludes our public comment on consent agenda, Chair.
Very good. Are there any board member comments on consent? Yes, Mayor Jones.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure the said that I had.
No, there's not.
Yeah, I think something's going on with it. Anyway, I just had a couple of questions for staff. The first one is on page 70. It talks about the stopover facility. I just wanted to get
Which
an update.
item?
I'm sorry. Oh, 3.8. I think it's 3.8. Yes.
Project progress item.
Yes, on the stopover item. I thought that we had paused on that, but maybe I don't remember. I sometimes do forget things.
Two steps.
Okay.
Mayor. We pause on the big picture,
Yes.
and let's say the direction the board gave us is see what you can do with what you have. And the properties we have acquired, but don't try to go and acquire more property. So the team has worked on that. We have the consultants, we're developing the concepts and make them available for MTS and set the facilities needed for their drivers. So that's what we're working on.
Perfect. And then on page 71, the SR 78 Rapid project, is that the one from Riverside down to San Marcos Landing?
I think it is.
Yes,
but
okay, I got a
need-
nod, yes,
okay,
that's a yes. Okay, that's what, I just wanted to clarify, I thought that's what it was, but I just want to make sure. And then I do have a question on page 9 of the, or actually it's page 90 of the agenda packet. It said that sales tax receipts for the 12 months ending March 31st, the coverage of the major corridor program was 1.37 times. I did from the prior fiscal year with the TIFIA debt service payments begin. Is that, what was last year? Like it said that there was a change and I'm just not sure what that change
bring Don to that or Kim.
is. Sorry, oh, poor Don was trying to get a cup of coffee or something.
What I think there is a board policy on the coverage ratios that need to be maintained, and that's why we're reporting that. So I don't know, Don, if you could shed a little bit more light on that.
Yeah, maybe. Just curious.
I can get you the last year number, but I will tell you that so our TIFIA loan had a 5-year deferral of payment, and so 2026 is our first year that we actually started paying on the loan, which brought our coverage ratio down. The debt policy requires a one-time coverage, and we've always been well above the one-time. The 1.3 times is still considered very good. And our program, overall program coverage is strong, but I can make sure that
I would, yes,
Okay,
motion
very
to
good.
approve.
Second by Red Sanchez. I don't see devices. Okay, that passes unanimously, those present. All right, thank you. We now move on to the external audit. Mario? Intro?
Well, we have our external audit was done. Davis Farr will be presenting it, and Kim Trammell will be ready also to provide a very brief response for us. But I think we got a better grading than last year, so that's a good advantage, and I'll pass it on to Jennifer.
Good morning. I just wanted to do a quick introduction. We are presenting the annual audited financial statements for the fiscal year that ended June 30,
Can you move the mic
2025.
closer to you, please?
I sure can. These reports were completed in March of 26 and presented to the audit committee on May 1st. The audit of the financials was completed by Davis Farr, and Jennifer Farr is here today to present the results of the audit.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here today. I have a short presentation to facilitate the discussion of the audit results. So we were able to get started on the audit and finalize a June 30, 2025 audit earlier this year. And our audit engagement includes 5 different financial statement audits, a TDA compliance audit, the single audit of federal awards, our letter to those in governance, and 2 agreed upon procedures reports. And I wanted to focus on the comprehensive annual financial report in our audit opinion. We issued an unmodified audit opinion on the financial statements, and I did want to point out that this is a change from the prior year. If you recall, we had a qualified audit opinion due to our inability to verify the accuracy of toll revenues. This year we were able to perform additional testing and verify improvements in the system of internal controls that would allow us to rely on the numbers and come to the conclusion that there are no material misstatements related to the toll revenues. Also included in our audit opinion is an emphasis of a matter, and this is to let the readers know that there was a change in the accounting standards during the year, and also a correction of a prior year error. And so those items are required to be pointed out in our audit opinion. And there's more information to explain a materiality in a little more detail. So I won't go into too much detail here, but I wanted to include a calculation of how materiality works, just to point out the number that's highlighted as materiality, and this is for the general fund. That is the number. And the other number that is bold and that says low risk individually significant items, this is kind of our threshold for testing individual transactions. So just so you can see how the math goes, and when we talk about materiality, the different numbers and calculations that we're using there. During the audit, we perform standard audit procedures, and then we also have different areas of focus where we perform additional procedures. Our areas of focus this year included the implementation of the new standard, the toll revenues, the new lease at the West Office location, our federal grant compliance testing. We also reviewed the Weaver assessment of audit risks that were identified, and also OIPA's reports and any audit risks that were identified in those reports. And then this year we performed an unpredictability test on additional testing over payroll transactions. So that just gives you an idea of the different areas where we took a deeper dive this year. I did want to report out on the federal single audit results. There was $122 million of federal expenditures. We tested 3 major programs for testing and determined there were no material instances of non-compliance identified as a result of those tests. And lastly, we do have some internal control recommendations for SANDAG this year. We have a recommendation about material audit adjustments that were detected during the audit, including prior period restatements. That is one of those items that automatically is identified as an area of internal control weakness and an area for improvement. We commented on the timeliness of financial review 31st of each year. We have an internal control recommendation about the toll back office system. Although there are no material misstatements, we still identified immaterial variances between the back office system and the accounting system that continue to need to be investigated. And then other minor recommendations related to reconciling accounts payable, minor cleanup issues with having the trial balance better support the financial statements in terms of the way the accounts are organized. So with that, I will turn it back over to Kimberly.
All right, in consideration of today's time limitations, I won't go through the entire presentation that we prepared on management's response, but you do have it on your tables in front of you, so you can read it at your convenience. And the full response can also be found on page 15 of attachment 2 to the agenda item. We are very pleased to have received the unmodified opinion from the auditors. A lot of hard work and effort went into correcting the items identified and documenting that we could support the numbers. So I want to thank the team for all their work on that. And then we also want to acknowledge that there's still work to do to address the findings, including the one repeat finding that we've had. And so we are definitely focused on making those improvements in the areas identified as we head into the next audit cycle. We've been working on getting our team additional training. We've been working on tightening our monthly checklists and our reconciliation timeliness, and so we're looking forward to continuing to make the improvements identified by the Davis Farr firm as well as those identified in the Finance Department assessment report that was completed in December. With that, I'll turn it
We need to work more on working with our partner agencies on collecting processes, documentations. On the toll operations, we need to be better on collecting the accounts that are, for one reason or another, are not paid, or let's say a checking account doesn't have a balance, pursuing those violations in some cases. So we do need to get better on that and get better on reconciliation. Like I've said, you're basically changing the tire of the car when as you're driving it, right? So, but we cognizant that we need to be getting better on our timing, our collections, on our toll operations, working with our reimbursing them also in a more timely, better manner, and making sure that we don't keep getting repeat recommendations and audits. There should come new ones, new areas, because you already highlighted, Jennifer, where we need to improve. So we need to focus on that and get it done. So that's where we're going to be working this coming year on those items.
Very good. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Jennifer. We'll go to public comments and then we'll have board discussion. Michael.
Thank you. So item 4, commenters. If you're online and would like to comment on this item, please raise your hand now. In person, we have 3, and then online, we have 1. So it's Truth, followed by Caesar. This is item 4.
There's a lot wrong with the West lease. A hazardous, non-compliant building with only 1 or 2 restrooms for the public. How many do you guys have that are for private use? Senex's excuse for undrawn reporting is basically priorities and resources. Well, if you were to prioritize wisely, you'd have plenty of resources from your overinflated $1.3 billion budget. Senex doesn't meet the FTA's criteria to conduct a stat sampling for passenger miles traveled. But if Senex spent countless millions on tire technology to have access to endless data, what happened? Why did Davis Farr audit the actual risk areas we care about? Where are Senex's detailed responses and plans to quit screwing up every week? What is the point of hiring the consultant Davis Farr if you have an internal controls director and an independent auditor? Make it make sense. What will make SANDAC follow the procedures, policies, and laws instead of Lisa trying to always skate out of them, or even Maggie fight them constantly every single meeting? I'm going to actually quote Esther to break the clip, but she said, we do double talk, triple talk.
Basic. The city of San Diego, Councilor Aba, Councilor Lee, respectfully, services of CRO. And CRO responded saying, oh, the processes is okay, but we could only do that. But the impacts is that the same with Davis Farr? But no impact?
Thank you. This is allegedly Audra, followed by Blair Beekman online. This is item 4.
I find it interesting when you're saying that you're relying on the numbers of internal controls And then you're talking about variances in numbers that you found in the internal control. So why would you not look further to make sure that, you know, you're doing your job? I love talking the back of people's heads. It's awesome. You know, to make sure. But the thing is that you guys do these audits to act like we're in compliance, we're following the policy. Oh, I'll be like breaking the law because there's no way to hold people accountable if you do. And if not, we'll make a new policy. It's like, it's just the way the government works is so ridiculous. And you have these people come in who you can't trust because it's like they tell you themselves. Like, maybe you should think about what you're saying before you say it, because you're kind of like letting the cat out of the bag, that you can't be trusted when you're relying on faulty numbers and saying it, and then wanting people to trust that you're going to bring something truthful.
Our last public comment is Blair Beekman online. This is item number 4.
Yeah, hi, thank you, Blair Beekman. With these auditing items, what was just spoken about, good luck towards accountability. That, you know, as much as we want to work towards accountability at Sandag, how to apply that to this item, good luck where it can be applicable. And hopeful, by the way, very hopeful. So I'm hopeful what you can be doing with accountability. Good luck in that. Good luck in how, if it relates at all, that these auditing practices and ideas can relate to the upcoming questions of ST, MDS bus fare increases. And if we can have a price freeze on disabled services. There's a ways to vote and still allow conversation to continue in the following months on these issues, hopefully. And I'm really upset that you guys are prioritizing your own public comment before non-agenda public comment. I'm upset by that. It's not right.
The public comment on this item, Chair.
Very good. On to member comments. I have Councilmember Contreras up, and I have nobody else up, so if you want to speak, please push your button.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I missed it, but I don't see a work plan or anything like that for implementation of the recommendations. Are there like particular strategies as to how we can implement these recommendations? Just curious.
So we have gone through each of the recommendations that are in this item and said, here's what we plan to do. So like I said, that's in attachment 2. And we are kind of combining this with the items that were identified in the Weaver assessment report to really look at a comprehensive, here's all the areas we need to work on. And so we're looking to add some additional resources to help kind of catch us up on timeliness and to help with the many priorities that we're trying to deliver.
Council member, the Weaver assessment that OIPA did was very helpful. It provided us a roadmap I call it a roadmap to success, and it had specific items. A lot of them will also be in the recommendations that we need to follow, as well as we being strategic as staffing, resources, and different items that can come in. But we're basically following a lot of the recommendations we got on the financial, on the finance department. The staffing and the addition, the movement of staffing and prioritizing certain elements of work.
Yeah, I just want to say, fantastic work. It's really great to see us going in this direction. And, I'm just always curious of timelines and stuff like that. So that's one layer that I'm curious about that I want to follow up on. But other than that, I think this is a really good direction. So thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Chavez.
I am no longer Deputy Mayor, but
Councilmember Chavez.
Appreciate it. So I have a question before I make my comments. So is there an estimate of the amount of toll revenue that has gone uncollected as a result of the current lack of Department of Motor Vehicles integration to the 125 toll road?
So there's a couple components to that. You're always going to have some portion that's not collectible, and So we don't have something that breaks it out that says, if this is how, would be the difference in that number. So I can't directly address, the DMV holds and how much that would help. We also don't, in the financial statements that were audited and you see in front of us, we build in an allowance for what we're not collecting because we don't actually anticipate to collect some of these dollars. For example, somebody could drive on the road and we try to read their license plate and then it comes DMV record. And so those kinds of, there's no way to go after those dollars. So there's got to be some loss regardless. So we're working through our accounts receivable and what it's made up of, and is how much of it is realistic. And we'll come back to the board with some addition, with the dollar amounts and some recommendations on what we could do to improve collections of that.
I appreciate it. I just want to thank our staff and everyone that did all the hard work that always goes into these necessary audits and disclosures. This ongoing process of assessment, accountability, and transparency is essential to maintaining the public trust and helps us identify where improvements are still needed. On behalf of Chula Vista residents, I think it is important that we note that this board was first briefed on the SR 125 tolling irregularities in 2023, and we continue to see findings in audits items, unfortunately related to the unresolved challenges associated with the E10 tolling system today, 3 years later. Staff continues to actively monitor the system, correcting errors, which I do appreciate, and working through challenges such as the continued lack of Department of Motor Vehicles integration as well. I support the plan's transition to a new back office system, which I believe will address many of these long-standing issues. At the same time, this long history of operational challenges continues to highlight the unique burden placed on South Bay residents, who are disproportionately affected by problems on what remains the only toll road in San Diego County. I look forward to progress and measurable milestones as we move toward implementation of the new system. While the toll road remains in place, we have a responsibility to operate as efficiently, accurate, and transparently as possible without losing sight of the real solution, which in the South Bay transitioning the SR 125 to a free way. So with that, thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you so much, Mayor Duncan.
Thank you for the report. Just a couple super quick questions on some specifics. I wasn't exactly sure what they meant. So on this handout, it has internal control recommendations, and one of them on the toll back office system limitations, it says an increase in ETON resources for financial reports. Can you just tell me what that means? Is that a SANDAG increase or having the vendor increase? I wasn't exactly sure what it meant.
It's working more closely with the vendor to be able to build out the reporting system so that we can essentially take two different reports, compare them, and find out where there might be something different and make sure that everything is then corrected and showing appropriately. So it's very important that we have we have a lot of and monitoring, but we need the reports to work with, and so E10 is working with us to get those reports.
Okay, so increase in E10 resources is staff time, so to speak, or both time on both sides to ensure the communication's being done. It looks like one of the main themes through the report is to do things monthly, or at least quarterly, as opposed to once a year when the audit takes place. And how is that going, or is that at the implementation phase?
That is definitely a theme and something we have been working on. Between the ERP implementation and the back office project and a few other things, it's been hard for staff to keep up on the monthly and quarterly items. And so we're getting to the point where we can breathe a little bit and catching up on those. So the toll accounting team, for example, has been using a monthly checklist and going through it every month and making sure that we are monitoring these different reports and that the numbers that we are posting to our accounts are correct.
Thank you. I just have one last quick question. Could we go back a slide, please? Is that possible? Maybe, right, let's see, one more, please. If we don't get there, well, let's see, maybe one more, please. All right, well, I will stop going back on there, but my question was, it mentioned like Caltrans and some unrealized I was just curious, what is that? If you just give me a sense of what expanding.
So when you have as many grants as SANDAG has and federal and state dollars, make sure so many days at the end of the fiscal year, we have to make sure that we've incurred the costs associated with those funds if it's an advance payment. And so there was an had essentially recognized the revenue but not received it within the time frame. And I don't know, Jennifer, did you want to expand any of that?
Yeah, there was actually two material journal entries with Caltrans, and they both had to do with just timing issues, getting the revenue recognized in the correct time period.
And so you call them material because of the timing of them, or is there another reason they're called material?
Material because of the dollar amount.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I see no one else up on the board, so we'll move on to public comment. There's no action needed for this. Thank you so much, Kimberly. And we'll move on to public comment on the closed session. And as I mentioned earlier, there will be public comment on non-agenda public comments after our closed session. So Michael, for closed session comments, please.
If you're online, like to comment on closed session items, please raise your hand now. Chair, in person we have 3 comments, and then online we have 2. The first is Truth, followed by Caesar. This is closed session.
Item 5.1, SANAG versus Associated Microbreweries, aka Carl Strauss, and Convince Beer is the only thing that gets council members' attentions away from their stupid phones. Is Strauss suing SANAG for damages due to stupid bike lane construction or commercial trucks having difficulty making turns with a stupid bike barrier in the way? Does anyone know why that Rose Canyon bike path starts near the 5 entrance? Item 5.2 from a 2021 NPR article. Software issues Lubbock County is still working to address since implementing Tyler Technologies. People wrongfully jailed, private court records made public, and defense attorneys struggling to obtain discovery from prosecutors. Records no longer fully accessible online. In Alameda County, Marion County, Indiana, Wichita Falls, Memphis, federal class action lawsuit. But from the Tyler Technologies website, SANAG leveraged Tyler's enterprise data platform, an open data platform to address crime, transportation, geospatial studies, and economic analysis. And they talk about transparency and public trust. Apparently full of a bunch of idiots who have no idea what they're doing with our tax dollars.
Next is Caesar Javier, followed by allegedly Audra. This is item 5, closed session items.
We have a robust idea on how to comment on this because we have the accurate evidence of, let me say, litigation. City of San Diego received us violent parallel to this closed session agenda. But we are accurately, absolutely, and truthfully to say, we are not under God. And so the lesson here is for us thinkers to do the right thing, to say the truth. Management of truth.
Your time has expired.
Is a giant.
Next is allegedly Audra, followed by Gambler online. This is item 5, closed session items.
Concerns of the incompetency of the legal team when they give fraudulent, illegal advice to you guys blatantly. And I mean, obviously, again, you guys have course corrected, but you have set yourself up for litigation. I'm not necessarily going to go back 6 months, but there have been 3 meetings that you guys have been aware of that I told you were not noticed, yet you continued. So obviously it's not the board of directors, but it was the executive committee, the chiefs and sheriffs management committee, and the audit committee. So those need to go back and be revisited, or we're going to be paying a pretty penny to force you to capitulate to follow the law. So you guys sit here and you talk about compliance. I suggest in your closed session that you talk about this significant exposure to litigation you have put yourselves in, and whether or not you want to go down that path, or let's course correct right now and redo those meetings.
Next is Gambler Online, followed by Blair Beekman. This is item 5, closed session items. Gambler, you're self-muted.
Hey, how you assholes doing today? I want to go ahead. You know, I know none of you guys deserve to work there. Eventually, it's going to go ahead and give me the file that I'm asking for all the illegal aliens who voted in the election. I'm going to demand that they go ahead and get removed, kicked out, deported. Because that's the law. I don't know how many times that the county could go ahead and avoid answering my questions, but eventually they're going to have to. If they give me no records exist, the election most likely will not count. But they're trying to avoid it. The second that happens, all the bullshit that you guys did will come to light. I understand all the stuff that these freedom fighters are doing instead of trying to help out people that they're staying locked in jail that begging trying to get a hold of someone.
Thank you. Your time has expired. Our last public comment is Blair Beekman. This is item 5, closed session items.
Hi, yes, thank you, Blair Beekman. Good luck on your closed session agenda items today. They obviously sound and seem important, and I do not in any way want to mitigate that or lessen that. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. I got bad news. I'm in a bad mood. So it's just clear to me that I'm upset at the concept that you will prioritize your own life over non-agenda public comment time and not treat non-agenda public comment time with the respect it deserves, the public process as it deserves. I respect what you guys have to do. Please respect what the public has to do. Hope we can work on it and think about it. Good luck on your closed session agenda items today. Thank you. Oh, and thank you for the posting of the public meeting thing. A really nice gesture, and I hope we work that out well, and thank you.
Item. This is our public comment item, Chair.
Very good. Thank you. We'll now move into closed session. So I'll ask everybody who does not need to be here for this item to please leave the room. We'll take a 5-minute break so we can get it all organized.
I don't want to. You're going to have to start speaking.
I know, I'm trying. I feel like I'm a little bit, I feel like I'm little by little. You know what I mean? I'm like chipping away at it. You know what I mean? Like a little bird trying to come out of it.
You got up on the right side of the bed, too.
Now I'm like, yeah, I think I'm going to walk.
I just wanted to say hello. You always show up and listen. I do listen to you.
You better listen to me.
I'm just saying, you have my attention. You do have a point. Safety on the MTS. I don't use it anymore. fare box recovery machine. Well, increase ridership.
Have a good day. All right. Yes. So, well, have a good day.
Definitely.
Okay. I will be coming back. They're going to be having closed session for right now, but see this TV is right here. That's the one that they turned around. I'm not sure it might need to go in this window because that's kind of, I don't know, but better than nothing. Though they still need to course correct, so hopefully they will have that discussion, which I highly doubt. But I am going to make sure that they redo those meetings, and if not, then I'll go back 6 months to all the meetings that they have held, which they're not going to want that because that'll be crazy. Anyway, so yes, stay tuned. I'll be back also for the transportation special meeting. But for now, they're going into closed session, and so I am going to end this for now, and then we'll be back. So God bless. Stay classy, San Diego. It's never a dull moment.